Muted.
Good morning. Welcome to webinar, ProVu's webinar on the launch of Sangoma PBX Exact system. Today, my name is Mohammed Bajwa. I'm the Senior Technical Sales Engineer. I have been joined by Simon Houghton, who's the Director, Product Management, Marketing. Well, you name it, he does it. So, hi, Simon, you there?
Hi, everybody. Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Right. So, how to use the GoToMeeting client. So if you have any questions during the webinar, on the left-hand side on your desktop screens, depending on where you logged in from, there is a chat option. So if any questions comes along, please write down in the chat box on the right-hand side, actually, bottom corner, and then we will, either myself or Simon will try and answer them as and when we can. So to get started, what we're going to discuss today. So basically, we will have a bit of introduction, which we've already done. Then Simon will talk about why Sangoma have come up with this PBX Exact system. We'll explain some of the key features which differentiate PBX Exact system, and then followed by that, we will talk about add-ons and the product lineup. One of the most important bits we need to talk about is the support that comes with the system, or that you have to be part as a system. So these are a couple of bits we're going to talk about, and then eventually we'll have a summary and a Q&A session. So I'll now pass it on to Simon, who will do the introduction on the PBX Exact system. So over to you, Simon.
Hey, thanks, Mo. Hi, everybody. So really, before we talk about the nitty-gritty of PBX Exact specifically, I wanted to go back over why Sangoma acquired the free PBX project in the first place. So I think the key thing here is the fact that it made a huge amount of sense for Sangoma to own a PBX. You know, it becomes the glue that ties all of our customer premise portfolio together. So really, it allows Sangoma to move from just providing a tiny piece of the overall solution, so just the PSTN telephony part with our boards and gateways, and maybe that was 10% of the overall solution. It allows us to move into, you know, a much larger part. Now we have the PBX as well, and now with the introduction of our Sangoma IP phones, which we'll talk about later on, you know, now we can provide a full end-to-end solution, and that's pretty exciting for us. And I think, you know, the single vendor solution is a really key part of what a lot of you out there are looking for. Now, all of this doesn't mean that we've taken our eye off the open source solution one bit. So, you know, Sangoma acquired the free PBX project at the beginning of last year, beginning of 2015. We're still absolutely dedicated to that. We still have a whole team of developers whose sole purpose is to develop the open source features and the open source project of free PBX, and there's absolutely no intention of Sangoma changing any of that at all. You know, we've seen some acquisitions in our space. I think we can all think of one or two examples of a large commercial entity acquiring an open source project and making it way too commercial and kind of killing it, and then you end up with branches coming off here, then everywhere, and it becomes a real mess. But that is absolutely not what we have. You know, we're treading that line very carefully, and we're very aware of that. You know, as an example, we're working very hard on the content for our next release of free PBX, which is version 14. There's some pretty exciting stuff in the pipeline. And you know, Sangoma's whole heritage is built on open source telephony and open source solutions. You know, back in the day, we were the first people to make hardware for Asterisk with our in our board space, right? So absolutely, we are very kind of honoured to be the proprietors of free PBX, and now we're moving into a kind of different space with the advent of PBXact. So let's look briefly at the kind of how the lineup kind of works out here. So Mo, if you could flip the slide, that would be great. Lovely, thank you. So really, the way our PBX lines up now is in three distinct silos. So on the left-hand side on your screen there, we have the free PBX downloads, and this has millions of activations and systems around the world in I think more than 200 countries now, and we have about 2 million activations of free PBX around the world. So I think we can probably say with a reasonable degree of certainty that it's the most widely deployed PBX system in the world. And there's something like 400 new activations of free PBX today across the world. There's some statistics we have through measuring shows there's about 20 endpoints added per system. So something like 8,000 endpoints per day being added to free PBX, and it really demonstrates why there's a huge pent-up demand for Sangoma IP phones, and why we're trying to address that market with IP phones. We also offer free PBX appliances. So these things ship with free PBX pre-installed and are designed specifically for that platform. And then, here we get to the crunch. Today, we're helping to launch PBXact UC. This is an on-premise communications systems, and Mo's going to be walking us through the feature set, the main features for PBXact UC, and then some specific launch information. So we really have these kind of three silos.
Thanks, Simon. So yeah, I'll let you talk about this one as well.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. So why have we released PBXact? We already have this free PBX open source solution. Well, it's really about choice. Many of you on the call may be avid users of free PBX, and you embrace the free PBX name. You understand it's about freedom and not zero cost. It gives lots of people the ability to build systems, specific for client needs. But then there's a whole other segment of the market who don't like the term free within free PBX. It doesn't resonate well. They don't get the open source part. The best example I can think of is Android is open source, right? And nobody has a problem with that. So why have you got a problem with free PBX? But there is a segment of the market out there that doesn't like it. So this is really where PBXact comes in. We've solved some of the problems that don't make free PBX very easy to push through a channel structure. So PBXact comes with a fewer add-ons, as we'll talk about later, that make it much more sensible. They can be raised on POs. There'll be stock out there in the world of this thing. ProVu will have stock elsewhere in Europe and across the world. And it means we can get more product in more places, get it close to the market, get our resellers, systems integrators, and just much more options. So, as well as providing great options for our resellers to make money, and we'll talk about the reseller program later. So that's really the scene on why we have brought PBXact to market.
That's great, Simon. So just to kickstart the process, so I'm just going to talk about the key features, selling features for the PBXact. And as Simon rightly said, right? So the free PBX going to live. It's not dying. But what they have done with PBXact system is simplified the whole web UI to make it easier for installers, for non-IT guys, or not sitting, or not non-IT guys, but IT guys with no SIP or Linux knowledge to install and configure the system. As I said, the web interface has been simplified. So instead of having thousands of drop-down menus like what you get with free PBX, there is only 4 or 5 different, about 8 or 9 different menus. There is a set of wizard, and it's just quite a simple sign-up process. Now it is a fully featured UC platform, and when we say UC, we're talking about instant messaging, video calling, voice calling, conferencing, everything. So we call it a unified platform mainly because it does offer most of the features of a unified communication system. And again, as Sam rightly said, it is based on free PBX, which is the most popular PBX in the world. So there is, the stability of backbone is there for the PBXact system. So it is there, it is quite a stable system to start off with. So the configuration visit, as I said, there is a configuration visit, and the configuration visit is designed to really make life easy for people to install and configure the systems. There's only very few options to go through, and then basically the goal for Sangoma setup visit is that you can basically set up a mini system, for example, 10 users in 10 minutes. And it's fully featured, ready to go for a small SMB customer. And some of the features you can see is there's a setting system where you can connect, select your network IP addresses, DHCP leads, and all sorts of stuff. Then or NTP server. Then there is Sangoma provisioning phones, options where you can provision, configure phones within the interface. Sangoma phone apps, which are quite, little applications for specifically designed for Sangoma phones, and we'll talk about it in a minute. Then what you have to do is put your extension range. There is extension, obviously each extension will have a user assigned to it, so you put the user details, and then there are options for inbound call routing, IVR setup, and fax as well. Most of the people don't really use fax, but still, it is there if you would like to receive fax, because what you can do with these gateways is, we'll talk about later, is you can add like Sangoma telephony boards inside it, which are plug and play. So you don't need anything to do, to have play with it. You can just connect a fax machine and then route all fax calls to a fax machine, or you can probably do something bits as well. I think I will talk about fax to email as well shortly. So the idea, the summary of this thing is, it's simple to install, configure system, and if you're using Sangoma phones, it just simplifies the whole process, makes life much more easier. So once you logged in to the web UI, you can see, instead of having the 100 drop-down menus, these are some of the options you see on the main interface. So there's an extension, there's an IVR, inbound route, music on hold, obviously if you want to customize your music on hold, and you can upload your files, which is really great. There's ring groups, which is one of the most common features, where you want to ring, for any inbound call, you want to ring all extensions. There's time conditions, where you can set up where an open time and office time, close time, where basically during the daytime calls goes to the main ring group. During office closure time, it goes to a voicemail or centralized voicemail, or maybe to an external number, depending on how you want to configure it. Advanced mode is one of the features people who would like to use advanced functionalities, and the mainly design is basically people who can't get all their configuration out of the main configuration. They can basically click on advanced mode, which is basically more like a hidden free PBX feature. So basically, when you click on advanced mode, it takes you to a sort of a version of free PBX where you can configure all the advanced options if you do want to do that. And restart, obviously, setup visit is if you have made any mistake, if you have done something. The good thing is you can just restart the whole process, setup visit. So it just makes life much more easier rather than having to go through different options on the free PBX. So what is difference? One of the major differences between PBXact system and free PBX is you get all these add-ons which you see on the screen. So whereas with free PBX these are paid for add-ons, so you have to pay for them to be included with your offering. Some of the features, as you can see on the screen. Call recording reports, you can generate your call recording reports on who's called, where call come from. You can download reports, and you can obviously download the recordings as well. Class of services is another one, and basically what it means is you can set up restrictions for certain extensions, so they can't call premium numbers or international numbers and stuff like that. So it's basic stuff really. Conference Pro is another one, extension-based routing. Fax Pro, which is again fax to email or fax, other and standard fax stuff. XMPP Pro is instant messaging. Again, this is a paid-for add-on, and then it comes free. So it's all these add-ons are there. And very easy to configure. So the Sangoma have taken away all the the customizations and all the hard configuration sort of bits from it to make it much more easier for people to implement it. So Sangoma phones. Can you see my screen? I'm just thinking its screen is stuck. Simon, you there?
It's still showing the PBXact UC screen.
Oh, right.
Screen right now. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so just
the phones now.
All right. Okay. There you go. Sorry about the delay. There might be an internet glitch for some reason. So sorry about that. So Sangoma phones. So as someone suggested, the PBXact system is designed around open source free PBX solution. So it can work with any range of IP phones. You name it, Snom, Polycom, Astra, Yearling. They all work. But if you want to get the best out of free PBXact system, you will have to use. I think it makes sense to install or use Sangoma phones. And the main reason, some of the main reason is Sangoma phones allow zero-touch provisioning. First of all, if you use Sangoma phones, there is an endpoint manager which automatically unlocks itself. So you can manage all the phones within the PBXact system. And obviously, because it's an endpoint manager, you can zero-touch provisioning, you can configure all the extensions and all the detailed features of the phone. Then there are phone apps which are built in as well. So if you're using high-end phones like S500 or S700, there are quite a few keys on the side of the screen, and you can use them to do or to manage your day-to-day routine, which you sometimes do have to ask your IT administrators to do. Again, we'll cover that in a minute. All these phones, from the low end to the high end, support VPN for remote users, which is quite a good feature. Again, the VPN feature is really clever. It's really simplified for people who have no idea how to set it up. So it's only a couple of buttons to press, and you have a VPN server running on your actual PBX. Which is clever. And then obviously using VPN, it just makes life easy because you don't have to rely on your router blocking SIP or your service provider blocking SIP and all sorts of stuff. So, and all in all, it's a single vendor solution. If there's a problem with PBX, with a phone, there's only one place to go. You don't have to, go to different vendors. It's just simplified. It just makes sense for people who would like a single vendor solution. And again, as I said, it is an open source, open protocol sort of system. So any standard SIP phone will work with PBXact system. Okay, so I'm still having some issues. Don't know what's going on, so just bear with me 1 second, please. Yeah, please. Right, so Sangoma phone apps. So when you buy Sangoma PBXact system, basically you get all these applications for Sangoma phone already included, and these are phone applications that integrate directly Sangoma phones with Sangoma phones with a video system. So basically, the goal is to empower the user to manage all their day-to-day work, telephony features like manage call settings, something like do not disturb feature. You can obviously do call forwarding, follow me setup. You can do call parking and voicemail to email. And you can also configure your login and log out if you're obviously using it in a call center solution. So all these features work fantastically well with Sangoma phones, and you just press a button and you have actual access to the overall system feature, rather than having to remember all the feature codes of the system. So it just simplifies the whole process. There's more information on the specific phone applications on Sangoma website. If you do need any further information about each of these phones, we can provide you with some more information as well. So, user control panel. So, this is something Sangoma have put quite a lot of effort into, actually. So user control panel, again, the idea being, again, is you user can manage their day-to-day features, and they can manage their own extensions. So whenever you create an extension on the PBXact system, each extension or each user will have their own logins for the web page on Sangoma PBX. And what it means is basically it gives you access to all your extensions or all your user details. So things like, you know, your WebRTC is your soft phone, so it becomes your soft phone client as well. It's still early days for WebRTC at the moment, but web browsers which support these features becomes your soft phone client, or your virtual client, so you can make calls, receive calls from a web browser. It's a very cool feature, and it works over quite good as well. Other bits you can do with the user control panel is you can check your call history, you can play back, you can download your call recordings, and you can obviously do contact management, add content, and then you can control and configure your BLF keys on the Sangoma phones as well, which is quite niche option, because most of the time what you have to do is you have to log into your desktop phone, and maybe sometimes you do have to ask your IT administrator to change the BLF if somebody leaves or if you want some customization done. But the idea being is it's such a simple to understand web UI, you don't have to rely on IT administrators to do it. You just control your own or information or all configuration. Another thing I've missed out is that you can basically configure or control your instant messages as well. So from the web browser, you can send instant messages to other people within the organization as well, which is quite cool. So user control panel, as I talk about WebRTC client, it is built in, so you could be anywhere in the world, and it just make by the click of a button, you can make a call from the web browser. You can also do voicemail, so you can listen to your voicemails as well. The conference room options there as well, so you can have your own private conference rooms, and you can obviously chain pins. You can greet and hang up conference users and all sorts of stuff. Chat and SMS, I've already discussed that as well. So instant messaging. So the next bit is instant messaging and video calls, which is again included. Now, video is obviously PBXact system supports H.264. So you can have video calling between compatible endpoints. Obviously, you can set up calls as well. Instant messaging obviously is not supported. There are quite a few third-party add-ons. There is not an application, desktop application available which allows instant messaging or VoIP client available from Sangoma at the moment. But there are quite a few different ones available in the market. Some of them you probably are well known are X-Lite. Bria, there's a Bria 4 and Bria Strato version, which, if you guys know, we sell something called Bria Strato, which is a provisionable version of Bria 4. And the idea being is you can provision, you can manage the software clients rather than relying on users to make their own inputs. Effectively, if your end users are IT literate, obviously give them access. But the idea being is centralize the whole management process, so you don't have to log into each customer. And obviously, I'm not going to go into details, but Bria Strato basically allows you to have instant messaging from the PBXact system and VoIP calls at the same time. Some other clients, again, is Linphone. There's a Pigeon, which is an open source instant messaging client as well. And there must be more of these available, but these are some of the bits we think is worth mentioning. Integrated voicemail. This is another, it's a custom, not custom. It's an add-on which it comes free with with PBXact system. It's quite a powerful voicemail application actually, and basically it allows your caller to keep in touch with with your voicemails. What you can do is, and it helps the IT administrators at the same time as well. Obviously, the users can listen, manage their voicemails from the user control panel or the web browser we talk about. But the IT administrators, they can basically run reports. They can basically monitor the messages. Maybe because it's a PBX, you're not supposed to really have hundreds and thousands of voicemails that are left at the same time. So the IT administrators or the administrator can see how many voicemails have been left. If there's a sort of high count of voicemails, obviously they can let customer know that you need to either listen to the voicemails or you can need to do something about it. And obviously you can convert them or email them over to your email as well. So you can have voicemail to email functionality at the same time. And the final bit is voicemail block, which is another cool feature. And basically what you can do is basically you can create a voicemail group for your users. So if you have, let's for example, think of a call center, basic, call center of some sort. Basically, they will have sales, they will have support, they will have, maybe pre-sales areas. So all these groups can have their own custom-made or group voicemail boxes. And what it means is you can assign a group voicemail box to the customer, and then anybody from that team who's been assigned that voicemail can log in, listen to it, and obviously resolve, if it's a sale query, get it sorted with, or if it's a support, then obviously they can respond accordingly. So this is another one of the very good features of the system. Mobile users or remote users, again with PBXact system, you can have mobile users. You can use mobile applications. There are VoIP phone clients VoIP phone clients available from Android, iOS stores. Again, it will work with any standard SIP compatible applications. Again, Reseller is one of them, which works quite nicely for the mobile users as well. But there's another one which is remote users. Now, remote users which is basically effectively the same as mobile users, which is basically when you have remote users, basically the problem with that is you have to open quite a few ports so for the remote users to be able to connect to the PBX. And when you do that, basically what you're doing is you're opening a loophole in your system, so people can sort of a dictionary attack to your PBX or hack attack to your PBX, or do also bits and pieces to be the PBX. And that's where the VPN client comes in quite handy. There are quite a few actually advantages of using Sangoma phones and obviously the V client. One of them is you don't have to open SIP ports. All the Sangoma phones supports VPN, so all you have to do is basically configure VPN on PBXact system, configure the phones. Again, it can be done on provisioning side as well. And then once you provide the phone to the remote user, they plug it in, and it's all up and running in no time. And the good thing about that is, with SIP, there has been a lot of problems with routers. Some of the routers don't really play well with your VoIP traffic. Some of them BTR, I'm sure BTR are very notorious. BT routers are very notorious with VoIP traffic. There's the other ones, Netgear ones. Some of the Netgear ones which have SIP LG, they don't like playing with that as well. So when you use VPN, actually you're hiding your traffic, which makes life easier. Nobody knows what you're doing over the VPN, and then that's where service provider who are blocking SIP or people who are using domestic routers, from BT, they don't have to worry about all these technical aspects they have to do features they have to configure on the router to get working. It just works out of the box. And obviously, again, for the follow me features, you can obviously users can choose to forward calls if their mobile app or if their mobile phone or extension are not available. They can immediately make it to ring a third external number, maybe a mobile number. So it's quite a good feature set for the remote users as well. Finally, the management side, it is it's all based on web UI. So basically, the configuration of the PBX is from web browser. When you plug into network, it gets an IP address. You program it, and everything from the web interface. It is compatible with all web browsers. Or the major web browsers available in market these days: Firefox, Chrome, IE. It is there. You can create multiple user rights. Obviously, if you have a big IT team and you want some of them have certain access rights, and some of them don't have the root access, for example, which should be used really for troubleshooting purposes. You can set up access rights for the users as well. There is backups option, so you can back it up on. You can schedule backups. You can run them on daily basis, weekly basis. Or monthly basis on some certain access, etc. And what you can do is, obviously, once the backup has taken place, you can download it and save it in those secure area. Sound prompts, voicemail recordings. Again, everything is managed from the web browser, so you can listen to voicemails, you can listen to voice recordings. If there's an integration with billing, obviously you can do that billing part as well. And again, the system administrators can basically check all the number of voicemail messages in the system as well. And then effectively, as said, the users control voicemails through the user control panel as well. So I'll now pass it on to Simon, who will talk briefly about the PBXact license options. Over to you, Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Mo. So yeah, we have everything that Mo talked about up to now is included in the base system that you will buy for PBXact UC. None of those features that Mo talked about, none of the UC require any extra modules, anything add-on, any additional cost. And then what we have here is the items that do attract an additional cost. So we're going to step through each one of these in turn. So we have third-party phone support, high availability, we have the call center add-on, desktop integration for click-to-call, and Exact View for operator panel. So let's first look at the third-party device support. So, like Mo said, PBXact UC works best with Sangoma phones because of all the built-in tight integration you have with PBXact. However, we support 20 other manufacturers and more than 300 devices from kind of all of the key players in the IP phone industry. And if you want to manage these devices through Endpoint Manager, or if you want to run phone apps on these devices, because we have some of our phone apps work on with some of these other manufacturers, then you need to buy the third-party device support. So if you just want to register a SIP extension, from a soft phone client or from a door entry, you can go ahead and do that manually, and you can manage it manually. If you want to use Endpoint Manager to do that management, then you need this third-party device support. So I hope that's clear. So we're not locking it down completely. You are allowed to bring in other third-party devices. So with high availability, what you do is you buy two PBXact UC appliances. When they first boot up, you make sure you choose the high availability option. And once you've done that, you can take these two devices and you can make them into a pair. And what happens is there is a floating IP address, and whichever box is the current master takes that floating IP address. So everything else in the network, your IP phones, your gateways, SBCs, if they're present, all talk to that floating IP address, and the floating IP address is associated with one box or the other. If that master box should go down because of power fail or some catastrophic failure, then the slave takes over and your calls all come, well, your active calls will fail, but new calls will go through the new master. So all of the configuration is always synced between the two units. You only have to go and do management configuration on one unit. HA is compatible on the UC 100, as we'll get to LineUp a little later, but it's compatible on the UC 100 and upwards, and you need one license per server. Call center. So the call center add-on covers both, a suite of features for inbound contact centers and outbound call centers. So for outbound, we have a very simple dialer, and this contact center, it's not really designed to compete with Genesis or Interactive Intelligence. It's designed for, for a smaller company that maybe wants to run a few campaigns a year and just get some simple kind of contact center functionality. So for the outbound campaign, you can set up multiple CSV lists, you can set up multiple campaigns, you can schedule them to run, you can auto dial out, you can connect up agents. Your agents can log in and log out of the queue, that kind of thing. For inbound calls, we already have a pretty feature-rich set of queues and routes and hunt groups and ACVs and all that stuff to manage the inbound calls. What the call center add-on gives you is the ability to both manage those calls and to get reports on them. So you can see which agents are the busiest. I think there's another slide on this, isn't there? You can see which agent is the busiest. You can see who's doing the most calls, all those kinds of things, voicemail blasts, all those good stuff for call center. Okay. Desktop integration. This is called Zulu. This is the previous add-ons, license features that we saw are all priced as a percentage of list price, or so you pay more for third-party phone support on a small system, on a big system than you do on a small system. This is fairly intuitive. Zulu or desktop integration is priced a little bit differently. This is priced per 20 users. For each 20 users you want to have desktop integration, you pay a small fee. And what this desktop integration is essentially is two key features for I think for the UK market. Click to call. So you can do click to call from Outlook or your web browser, and you can right click on contacts in your Outlook, and it will call your extension, and then then it will call the user, the contact, and the two of you will be connected. And then there is it makes all phone numbers inside Chrome or inside Internet Explorer or any other browser appear as clickable links, and it will click them, and this will be the PBX making a call for you. And then URL pop is the other one, which we're getting lots of interest in, which is when a phone number comes in, a URL can pop up on your screen. So, if you get a call from a customer, maybe you want to do a pop-up of their buying history over the last 6 months, so you can see what you should be talking to them about. So some really cool stuff with desktop integration. And the last license option is, when Mo flicks the page, is ExactView. So ExactView is effectively an operator panel for PBXact. Again, this is priced slightly differently. This is priced per number of extensions that you want to manage, and then an additional small cost for each queue you want to manage. It's a web-based system, so you effectively have your operator browse to a URL, a web page, and then they can visually drag calls to transfer them, they can park them, manage conference bridges, monitor recall calls, break into calls, listen in on calls, whisper, all those kinds of things that you'd expect from a full-featured operator panel. And I think, Mo, that's let's skip. I think we kind of talked about this one. Let's skip this one. I think it's back over to you, right?
Yeah. So I think the queue reporting is exactly the same, isn't it, Simon? So it covers what you've already explained. So I'm just going to rush over to the ecosystem. Do you want to discuss that as well?
Yep. Sorry, I forgot about this one. Of course. So we already talked a couple of times about the fact that with Sangoma's solution, you have one throat to choke, or one vendor, single vendor solution, right? And really, this slide seeks to explain what those other components are. So we've talked about IP phones in the top right, and I'm going to kind of move around this slide clockwise. Our IP phones with zero-touch provisioning, with VPN built in, with the phone apps is a great solution with PBXact. If you have on-premise, still analog phones, maybe where there's no Cat5 cabling, if you have modems or faxes or franking machines or door entries or lift phones that are all analog, then of course you can take an analog gateway to connect these up, to bring these into your IP PBX PBXact infrastructure. And we have really tight integration of those types of gateways with PBXact. So you can configure all of these gateways from within Endpoint Manager. For remote users or for SIP trunking connections out to an ITSP, we always recommend you put an SBC between that type of network and any PBX, just to add a level of security, policy control. You know, Mo mentioned earlier about ALGs and how bad they can be and how they don't, they can't monitor and tie together media and signaling. So there's lots of reasons to have an SBC, and we do lots of webinars on SBCs and educational pieces. And then really in the top left, when you want to bring in PSTN connections, so connections to the public network over what we would now call legacy connections. So, PRI or ISDN 30 or E1 or BRI, which is ISDN 2, or analog connections, you have a choice. You can either use an external gateway from Sangoma, which is normally called a Vega gateway, or you can take one of our telephony cards, telephony boards, PCI Express, just like you would put in your computer if you want to add an extra network interface card or some other thing into your computer. You take that and you can pop off the top of all of our PBXact appliances, and you can add the board right in there. So it's just it's a matter of personal choice whether you want to use an external gateway or an internal board. So that, there's just a quick overview there of the other Sangoma elements you can add to PBXact.
That's great, Simon. I'll quickly sort of go through the appliances which are available at the moment, or available to purchase at the moment. So at the moment there are 5 appliances which are ready for shipment. So and there's a sixth one coming along as well, which is UC5000. It's a high-end device. It will be available end of July, but at the moment these are the ones we have available. So quick overview. UC10 is a small desktop, a very small desktop version of the appliances. It supports 10 users, 5 calls. Again, it is based on SSD, commercial, based SSD drives, so they are quite robust. It's got a HDMI port to connect to a monitor, obviously for configuration reasons, and it does have 3 gigabit Ethernet ports to do different things. But at the moment, you just probably use one of them. But if you do want to use it as a DHCP server, Simon, can you confirm if the PBXact system supports DHCP server?
Yep. You can run a DHCP server from within these. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So some of the ports, obviously the first port could act as a WAN, the second port could act as a DHCP, connected to a switch, and obviously off the switch you can have your phones connected directly to the PBX, and obviously you have a sort of a locked on telephony network, which is quite a nice thing to have in a telephone if you have shared network across your board. Then we have the UC60. It's a 60 user system. It supports 30 concurrent calls, again based on SSD drives. It is a bit bigger system. It is it's a 1U form factor system, so you can rack mount it if you have to. The access is via the web UI or SSH for troubleshooting, and then the bit which is different is it's got 2 PCI Express slots to it. So if you do want to add interface cards like BRI, PRI from Sangoma, plug and play, you can add 2 different cards in there as well, or anything from their range really. It works quite nicely. The RRP prices are right at the bottom. Obviously, the reseller pricing are different, so you can get in touch with us for the resale pricing. But the UC60 retails at about £790. That's bad, obviously. UC100 is one of the major high-end systems. So UC100 supports, as the name suggests, it's 100-user system. Again, it supports 30 concurrent calls, SSD, everything else is the same, but only thing it does have is got a 5 gigabit Ethernet ports. PCI ports exactly the same. Each retails at about £1,200. Roughly. Now, from this range, the previous range are low-level range, so there is no HA, add-in available for these. But from UC10, because it becomes 100-user system, it does have an option for the HA add-on, so you can stack them right side by side to sort of have a failover option. UC300, 300 user system, 120 calls, again, everything else is exactly the same: 5 gigabit pass-through ports or Ethernet ports for doing different things. It does have 2 USB ports which are not being used for anything at the moment, maybe for mouse and keyboard if you do want to connect them for management purposes. It retails at about 1620 at the moment. And then finally, the UC1000. It is one of the high-end systems, so it supports 1,000 users, 300 concurrent cores, which is quite a lot actually for a high-end system. As it is more like a category system, it does have 7 gigabit Ethernet ports, 1 IPMI port, and 4 PCI Express ports if you do want to connect multiple interface cards to it. The UC1000 retails at about £5,200. Now, these pricing, just to confirm, doesn't include any support. All these PBXs, because it's going through, it's really designed for going through the channel rather than the end user point of perspective. There is a support charge, as Sam suggested, available as well on top of it, which covers different aspects of the PBX. From support, remote installation, and we'll discuss that in a minute or two as well. So, as we've been discussing, this is more a commercial offering from Sangoma. So support for this is compulsory, and we will always quote you for PBX LineUp support. Now, basically, if we you don't have any support, there is no software upgrade, there is no support available. Although we say that, but we would never sell it without support, because eventually it's a PBX, it needs support for the system. At the moment, currently, support is directly available from Sangoma, but we at ProVu, our technical team, are gearing up to take over support from Sangoma in next few weeks. We're still discussing and we're still gearing up. So hopefully within the next few weeks you will hear the support offered by ProVu, and what it basically means is we work in the same time zone as you guys work. So all you have to do is pick up the phone, email you've got access, all the access information to our technical support. All you have to do is email support or call us, and we are there to help you with whatever you want. And we will email you all the webinar attendees, ProVu support offering once we have, sort of figure out what we will offer it to the customers. So Sangoma reseller program. Simon, do you want to add something or to start off with something, please, on the reseller program?
Sure, absolutely, Mo. So we here at Sangoma, you can see with our kind of portfolio changes over the last 6 to 12 months, we're more firmly targeting the PBX market, and we understand that the majority of the PBX market is serviced through resellers, right? So we spend a lot of time rounding out our PBX, our reseller program to attract people, the audience out there, I guess. So what we do is we ask for a modest fee to get into the program, and you'll see what that modest fee includes on the next slide. And then in return for that modest fee, we add you as a reseller on our website, and we will you get post-sale support, you get pre-sale support, you get not for resale units to do demos, and of course you get access to our marketing department for help with marketing and EDMs. Trade shows, all those kinds of things, and we'll also share our leads with you. As you can imagine, we've got quite a big push on PBX, so a lot of leads coming through. We'd love to get those out into the channel and begin to drive this market much more than we have done. So the application fee, it's pretty modest. It's around £900, just a little bit less than 900 quid. It's not like we're trousering all that money. That cash gets you a System 60, gets you a Vega 50 FXS unit, gets you an SMB, SBC, and two of the 3 phones. And you probably get an S300 and an S500 phone. This is, if you add up the cost of all that, this is like a 70% discount. So this is a great deal. And what it allows you to do is kind of go out to your customer base with demos. You can give it to your technical team so they can learn more about it. There's just a whole raft of things that can be done with this reseller kit, and we're getting huge traction with this. We're selling these like hotcakes. Lots of resellers coming in. Everybody thinks it's a great idea. So I'm hoping there's a lot of interest out there in this.
That's great, Simon. So just a quick add to the reseller pack. At the moment, it's not something saying ProVu stock. We will be stocking them. I think it's the first week of July. Sangoma are doing their inventory checks, so their logistic department will be closed. So hopefully after the first week of July, we will keep stock of these reseller packs. Now there are two different versions. There's obviously a free PBX version as well. So if you're interested in free PBX, feel free. The free PBX version is a bit more cheaper, but we will obviously encourage to go for the PBX UC-Exact system, which is obviously supported and which is what we have discussed today. So finally, before closing, it's more like closing. So what just a quick summary. So what we've discovered is, Sangoma will continue to invest in free PBX market. The free PBX market is not going to die. They are actively working on new add-ons, new features for the PBX. So it will keep on, the development will continue on the free PBX market. There's a choice for people to either go for PBX or UC-Exact system, again depending on what they want to do with it. Free PBX will always be so open source and available. It's not gonna just disappear tomorrow. The market for PBX Exact system is completely different than the free PBX. Free PBX is obviously you go online, download it, install it in your, and then you just, if you need support, you just either buy it from PBX as a ticket or you just get it from sub forums. Whereas with the PBX, it is designed to resonate through the channel, so the support and the phones, everything comes via channel, so it works. It flows quite nicely within the channel. So it's designed for that purpose, really. And again, PBX Exact system is a UC or Unified Communication System, and it includes everything from instant messaging, video, presence, and desktop integration, like we can do with Zulu add-on, and even WebRTC, which is again a soft client built in for the calls. So that's it. Really, we do have the pricing available for the main system on Process. So you can obviously look at your reseller pricing if you have access to Process. With regards to support, again, because it's a PBX, there are different variants of the support available at the moment. There's a silver, gold, and platinum, which gives you different things, right? So different levels of support. So if you do need obviously pricing on that, please get in touch with us, or add-ons. The good thing about add-ons is if you buy from free PBX, there is no sort of margin on this. But if you buy through us, obviously you will get a discount on top of the add-ons, so you can make margin on the add-ons at the same time as well. So that's really it, really. Now finally, I think just to close off, I'm going to go through the question and answers. I can see we have quite a few different question and answer sessions, and then you can obviously note down my contact details or Simon's contact details. If you do need any further information, we are here to help. So I'm just going to move on to some of the questions we've been asked, so we can start answering. Okay, so Simon, here's one for you. Please, can you cover adding a BRI gateway to the mix? So I presume it works. The PBX Exact obviously works with any of those Sangoma BRI gateways. But is there any sort of a zero-touch sort of configuration guide or solution for UC-Exact system and Sangoma's BRI gateways?
No, so we haven't yet done zero-touch provisioning for BRI gateways. Zero-touch provisioning exists for FXS gateways, but not for BRI yet. It's a pretty simple task. Just like we have this skin on top of free PBX, which makes it very easy to configure PBXact UC. We also have a skin on top of the Vega config called Quick Config, and there's 3 or 4 tabs to go through. You simply put in the IP address of your PBXact UC system. You give it a username and password. You put the same username and password in the trunk section of PBXact UC, and hey presto, it will just work. So there's lots of configuration guides on our technical support wiki. We can work with you to get this going. So it's not a difficult process at all.
Okay, that's great. In terms of limitation, do you know if the web browser or WebRTC, if there's any limitation for Mac users?
Or which, sorry, Mo?
On Mac users, you know, the Apple device. WebRTC or Access type of, can you access it? I'm guessing you can access it from any
exactly.
web browser.
You know, yeah, exactly. WebRTC is that's the whole point of WebRTC, right? It's agnostic to hardware. So as long as you've got a browser that supports WebRTC, so all the popular ones do, then using a Mac is no problem. And in fact, on our Zulu, just to change the topic slightly, on our Zulu desktop integration, we actually now have Mac. We now have that for Mac as well as PC, so you're fully supported on a Mac for almost everything now.
That's great. In terms of backup, can you do direct backups to a NAS server or to a shared folder?
Yes, you can. There's a module within PBXact UC that allows you to script up almost anything, right? So you can have an HTTP repository or an FTP repository somewhere on a server, a file server somewhere on your system, and on a daily basis, as often as you like, right? Minute, hour, daily, monthly, yearly, you can send a full backup file to that file server so that you can if you have problems you can rewind to what worked previously, and that's not limited to only the config. You can back up recording, you can back up voicemail, you can back up voice prompts if you personalize those, everything, right? So you have a whole loads of flexibility. You could talk about this for a long time, but there's loads of flexibility about what you back up and when you back it up.
Okay, that's great. And the final question I've got is, I'm not sure about this. There was compliance was mentioned on one of the slides. Does it include DTMF tones hiding?
Oh,
can you hide DTMF tones?
For PCI compliance?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think not. Can we Mo? Let's take that. Let's go and find the answer to that definitively rather than speculating here. And we'll come back on email to that.
Exactly. So So I will go back to it's a question from Andrew. So I've written down your details, Andrew, and we'll come back to you with an answer as and when we've got some information. Now this webinar has been recorded, so we will email you a slide deck and a recording of this webinar will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So if you have missed out, or if you would like your one of your colleagues to listen to the webinar, it will be available either by the end of this week or early next week. So we'll be in touch, or our marketing team will be in touch shortly with more information. I think that's about it from myself and Simon. I hope it was useful for you guys to join. Again, if you do need any further information, please get in touch, and we'll be happy to help. Thanks a lot, and take care and goodbye. Thanks, Simon.
Lovely. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.